Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's had a lovely weekend. Hope that you also had a chance to see the live streams from Friday and Saturday night. Several interesting guests. We're going to get right into the news from today because there are some major revelations coming out with regards to this Ukrainian scandal that we've seen erupting over the last couple of weeks. First of all, it looks like the intel community and Congress colluded over this whistleblower thing. Looks like some documents were altered with the help of Congress, and that is an illegal act. Also, we've got a report of Adam Schiff having his own direct ties to Ukraine and a very particular arms dealer. Then also the Joe Biden campaign is demanding that networks ban Rudy Giuliani because he is spitting so much truth. And then finally, a former Ukrainian prime minister is speaking out and saying that Joe Biden's son Hunter should in fact be investigated. There is nothing political about it. This is about fighting corruption both home and abroad. So we're going to get into all this and more, and we'll be right back after a quick word from my sponsor. Urgent announcement from the research firm who showed 4 million Americans how to take advantage of a Social Security loophole that made retirees so much money the U.S. government had to shut it down. Thanks in part to the 2008 bailout, you can claim a refund worth as much as $23,157. There is a rarely publicized secret that allows Americans to claim payouts thanks in part to the 2008 bailout. If you were one of the millions of Americans who were furious when the government bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, I've got news for you. Thanks to a little-known loophole the government is not publicizing, thousands of Americans are seeing payouts, thanks in part to this 2008 bailout. In some cases, these payouts can be worth up to 5 figures annually. We've already shown dozens of folks how to cash in on this secret stream of income, like Lawrence L., who tells us he made $1,550 in less than 2 weeks, and John K. from Boynton Beach, Florida, who made over $52,000 thanks to this loophole. Richard A. shares that he made $7,000 in roughly 6 months, and Shirley M. from Texas made $3,652 in just 4 months. So how much will your 2008 payout be worth? Find out by clicking the link below and watching the free video, or visit www.refundsecret.com. That's www.refundsecret.com. All right, welcome back. It has been revealed that the deep state intel community and Congress are colluding. These whistleblower documents also may have been altered by CRS, and that likely is a criminal act. The deep state intel community and Democrats in the House of Representatives are pushing through a whistleblower complaint that likely is not legal under the law. They are attempting to cover up this fact with their recent actions under the guise of darkness. President Trump should ask the courts to step in and end it. An individual by the handle of Matt Beebe released a series of tweets on Saturday that unveiled the seediness of the deep state coup. Of course, the recent whistleblower incident with President Trump is a sham, but it may also be illegal. The tweets are somewhat difficult to understand, so here's a summary of what Beebe is saying. The deep state changed the requirements for filling out the whistleblower form, and in August allowed whistleblowers to use hearsay when filing a complaint. At this same time, the whistleblower filled out the form slandering President Trump using hearsay. Now, the deep state intel community only updated their online site regarding whistleblower protections 4 days ago to reflect the recent changes before the recent complaint was released. This was done in spite of zero legislative action on the related regulations. The term urgent concern is now used 10 times in the Congressional Research Service manual and was only used 2 times in the prior publication. The CRS also recently added wording for addressing disagreements between the Director of National Intelligence and the Intelligence Community Inspector General. The CRS cites the regulations for the ICIG chapter and verse for all but 3 paragraphs in the footnotes to the CRS manual, which discuss the ICIG's authority to report directly to Congress. The CRS omits a key clause in the law related to the types of people that the ICIG can investigate. It is only related to current or former employees of the intelligence community. This is the key. The law does not require that a whistleblower complaint of President Donald Trump be provided to Congress. As a matter of fact, only whistleblower complaints of current or former intel community employees are to be reviewed by the ICIG, and only these investigations have a requirement to be forwarded to Congress. The CRS then added an editorial note that is highly debatable but comes across as fact. It states that who makes the call on whether something is an urgent concern is unknown. This implies that Congress can make this call, but the statute indicates that this is a decision to be made within the intel community. Folks, once again, this is another attempted coup. We actually have the tweets right here from Matt Beebe, and that's at VoteBeebe. And it goes on and on. Quite a lengthy thread. I suggest you guys go and check it out, but that is the gist of it right there. Once again, the intelligence community and Congress have colluded together to try and create a situation where they can go ahead and impeach President Trump, because everything else they've done up until this point hasn't worked. President Trump needs to step in and send this issue directly to the courts. The statute requires that all investigations within the intel community by the ICIG be of intel employees, past and present. President Trump is not included in that class, so this witch hunt needs to be shut down now. As we said over the weekend, it does seem very strange that the intel community is the one bringing this whistleblower complaint against President Trump. He is not a member of the intelligence community, and he's actually the president of the United States, head of the executive branch. President Trump is required under his oath of office to uphold the laws of the United States. And by speaking with the president of Ukraine, he has been doing just that. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, they were engaged in massive corruption. They broke the laws, and that's why he was speaking to the president of the Ukraine about that. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed, and this witch hunt is just another example of what the intelligence community and Congress and the Democrats and the left here in the United States are willing to do to remove President Trump, because they are so afraid that he is going to remain in office. Well, I've got a big surprise for them. It's going to be another 4 more years, and I think we all know it. All right, now a new explosive report says that Adam Schiff is linked to a prominent Ukrainian arms dealer. Pasternak, who was raised and educated in Ukraine before emigrating to the United States, is a passionate promoter of Ukrainian culture and business. He's been active in both Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. to support increased bilateral ties between the two countries, and has been especially active in building awareness of Ukraine's strategic economic importance among members of Congress. Since political protests broke out across Ukraine in late 2013, Pasternak has worked to personally inform and educate members of Congress about the geostrategic importance of Ukraine to European and U.S. security. In late February 2014, during the final hours of the Yanukovych presidency, Pasternak traveled to Kiev for diplomatic reasons in response to the outbreak of violence that had started in less than 24 hours earlier, and to support peaceful transitions amid the rapid changes now taking place across Ukraine. Well, Pasternak is actually an arms dealer. He has sold arms in places like Syria. Here we can see him right there, Igor Pasternak. There is much more to this Ukrainian arms dealer that can be found at this link. So it looks like, based on this graphic here, Pasternak is connected not only to Adam Schiff, but also to Nancy Pelosi. And it looks like he has had quite close ties to the Dems for some time. Here we have a graphic right at the bottom here, which shows that Pasternak was actually hosting an event for the re-election of Adam Schiff, or the election, rather, of Adam Schiff back in 2013. So Schiff has his own ties to the Ukraine and to a very suspicious Ukrainian. Now, Schiff was reportedly scheduled to be in Ukraine just last month with the Atlantic Council. And we have a tweet here from Beth Ann, and it says, My, guess what country Representative Adam Schiff traveled to last month? The whistleblower report came in August, and guess it was in Ukraine from August 24th to August 31st. And we have a graphic right here showing that Adam Schiff is on a flight manifest going to Ukraine with the Atlantic Council as his sponsor. Now, this is also the same time that Schiff tweeted out that information on the Ukraine. Paul Sperry notes, wait a minute, check this out. Schiff tweeted this exact same Trump-Ukraine collusion narrative a month ago. Exactly how long have Shifty Schiff and the Dems been working with this whistleblower, smelling more and more like a prefabrication? And Adam Schiff back in August said, Trump is withholding vital military aid to Ukraine, while his personal lawyer seeks help from the Ukraine government to investigate his political opponent. It doesn't take a stable genius to see the magnitude of this conflict, or how destructive it is to our national security. The earlier tweet was at the exact same time Schiff was reportedly scheduled to be in Ukraine. How very interesting. What have I been saying since this whole thing started? This is another witch hunt. This is a prefabricated narrative that's been put together by the Democrats, people like Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and people in Ukraine probably who do not like President Donald Trump and have been angry ever since he was elected. So once again, we have a prefabricated narrative put together by Schiff, the Democrats, the intelligence community, and President Trump's enemies abroad. How many more times is this going to happen? Well, something tells me they are never going to give up until they get their wish and he's pushed out of office. But sorry, guys, that's just not going to happen. Now that Rudy Giuliani is out there talking about the actual scandal involving Ukraine and Joe Biden, the Biden campaign is demanding that networks ban him because the information he is dropping is absolutely on point. The Biden campaign sent a letter Sunday to broadcast and cable news executives and anchors demanding President Trump's personal attorney, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, be banned from appearing on news shows because of his accusations of corruption against former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Now, the Biden letter was first reported by the Daily Beast, which said the letter came from Biden aides Anita Dunn and Kate Bedingfield. The letter has since been posted online by other reporters. Here is an excerpt. We are writing today with grave concern that you continue to book Rudy Giuliani on your air to spread false, debunked conspiracy theories on behalf of Donald Trump. While you often fact-check his statements in real time during your discussions, that is no longer enough. By giving him your airtime, you are allowing him to introduce increasingly unhinged, unfounded, and desperate lies into the national conversation. We write to demand that in service of the facts, you no longer book Rudy Giuliani, a surrogate for Donald Trump, who has demonstrated that he will knowingly and willingly lie in order to advance his own narrative. Here is the statement in full. Giuliani replied to a Daily Beast text inquiry saying the Biden letter sounds like the usual left-wing censorship. Everything I say is supported by such as today, affidavits, and statements. They are the ones who have covered up pay-for-play for at least 5 years. Indeed, Giuliani appeared on ABC's This Week Sunday morning with affidavits from key Ukrainian officials. Let's go ahead and take a look at that video.
I also support everything I say with affidavits. I have an affidavit here that's been online for 6 months that nobody bothered to read from the gentleman who was fired, Victor Shokin, the so-called corrupt prosecutor. The Biden people say that he wasn't investigating Hunter Biden at the time. He says under oath that he was.
But as you know, I know he says that under oath.
He must not be. We don't even know him. He must not be telling the truth.
We know that Vice President Biden was part of an international effort, was part of a government-wide effort to help push the prosecutor out because
the name here was Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr., and it said that the president of the Ukraine asked me to resign due to pressure from the U.S. presidential administration. The truth is that I was forced out because I was leading a wide-ranging corruption probe into Burisma Holdings and Joe Biden's son. That's under oath by the prosecutor who was handling the case, who they say is corrupt. Now, a lot of prosecutors...
It's not just they who said it's corrupt. The European Union said he's corrupt. The entire U.S. administration
they all said it. Anybody prove it?
That's why he was removed from office.
No, it wasn't. The reason he was removed from office was he resigned because the president forced him to resign. And then, just in case we want to deal with the corruption thing, I have another affidavit, this time from another Ukrainian prosecutor who says that the day after Biden strong-armed the president to remove Shokin, they show up in the prosecutor's office, lawyers for Hunter Biden show up in the prosecutor's office, and they give an apology for dissemination of false information.
I know.
You know what the apology is for? For having gotten out the story that this guy was corrupt. Now, if you met this guy, he's not very good at corruption because he's very poor. Well, unlike the prosecutor who tanked the case on Biden, who's driving around in a Bentley.
Okay.
Wow, that's a pretty compelling argument, and these affidavits back up everything Rudy Giuliani is saying. Now, Biden campaign manager Greg Schultz commented on the demand letter, saying you would get more intelligent and fact-based interviews with a random second grader than you do with Rudy Giuliani talking about Ukraine. Look at this invective. Ad hominem attacks because they have nothing to back that up. Now, Trump campaign manager Brad Parscale fired back on the letter and said, can we request the removal of Democrats on TV that push hoaxes? Wait, but then who would do the interviews? Absolutely genius. It is so true. It is incredible here, the hypocrisy on display, the Biden campaign saying that we need to remove Republicans talking about actual corruption because it's supposedly a theory, when in actuality, all of the conspiracy is on the Democratic side. Everybody that does talk on CNN, MSNBC, everything they've said has been proven to be absolutely 100% false. This is real. This is coming, and this cannot be stopped. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are very, very scared at this point. And finally, a former Ukrainian prime minister is speaking out about the scandal. He says that Joe Biden's son Hunter should actually be investigated. The Democrat media complex is outraged that President Trump discussed the deep state attempted coup against his administration. The left is also outraged that President Trump would discuss the Biden family $8 million pay-for-play scandal with the current Ukrainian president on a phone call. Democrats want him impeached for discussing the Biden crime family. Discussing the criminal activity of a Democrat politician running for higher office is strictly forbidden. Now this. Former Ukrainian Prime Minister Mykola Azarov called for an investigation of Hunter Biden this weekend. Hunter Biden was placed on the board of Ukraine's gas and oil company 2 months after he was kicked out of the U.S. Navy for his drug use. Now, Reuters has reported former Ukrainian Prime Minister Mykola Azarov is calling for an investigation into the son of 2020 presidential candidate Joe Biden in order to assess whether Hunter Biden's role in a Ukrainian gas company complied with the nation's laws. Azarov made the call in an interview with Reuters following a week in which revelations about President Trump's interactions with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky prompted a formal impeachment inquiry in the House. Azarov, who served as prime minister from 2010 to 2014, did not address any specific laws. No evidence has been provided that suggests Hunter Biden committed wrongdoing while serving on the board of Burisma Holdings Limited. And there you go. Reuters is still covering for the Biden family because they want Biden to be in office. They cannot stand the idea of another Trump administration. 4 more years, guys. Let's say it with me. 4 more years. President Trump is going to prevail. This is not an impeachable offense. This is President Trump upholding the laws of the United States of America. And like it says here in this article, discussing the criminal activity of a Democratic crime family is strictly forbidden. Unless you are, of course, another member of the party who's looking to push out that individual so that you can uphold somebody else and get your man or woman into office. All right, guys, that is all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pilled News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.